We are going to be learning some Liveview today. We did Phoenix recently. I've been drinking so much soda, I'm going to have to go to the bathroom soon. I am not a professional streamer, that's for sure. So I posted, I did a YouTube short where I was so like out of my mind. No, out of just confused, just whatever. And I was talking about how I woke up. Well, I'll just tell you how I felt. I woke up and it was like 11:30 a.m. or something like that. And usually I've been waking up at like 7 and I keep waking up at like 5, 4, whatever. I'm a light sleeper usually. That happened for a few days. We're watching a cat right now, so she usually wakes me up at around 7, 7:30 also. So I've been like not sleeping well. But also haven't been sleeping well, but I've been really productive. Like I've been on my ADHD meds. I have coffee in the morning and I'm like getting stuff done, right? And so, in a way, I feel good about that because I usually blame myself a lot. Like, I'm not doing enough. When you're neurodivergent, lots of things can get in the way. And if you're watching this and you've watched me in the past, then chances are you're neurodivergent also. I can't imagine. Yeah. So, but then I woke up at 11:30 and that's when I usually feel bad, right? Like, oh god, I woke up so late. I should have woken up earlier. And this the self-blame starts kicking in very early, like I'm doing something bad, I messed up, I should do more. And for a moment though, today I was like, I'm glad I woke up late. It actually feels good to wake up so late, you know? So I woke up late and I didn't blame myself. And I was just like, everyone has their own rhythm. I've survived up until now, like with my flaws of sporadic productivity and maybe the way that I work, like that I function. I shouldn't beat myself up because I'm going to function like this anyway, right? It's not like after all these years I'm going to tell myself like, "Hey, you should wake up early every day," and all of a sudden I'm going to change and be like whatever, quote unquote normal. That's not going to happen. So, to the extent possible, I feel like now I should just like go with it. I think the fear is if you give yourself too much leeway, too much of a leash, that you'll start abusing it. Like you'll be like, oh, I won't get out of bed until 3, 4, whatever. I don't really think that's the case. Like sometimes I'll scroll or whatever. Those are bad habits probably that I can work on. But just the fact of waking up late, that I have like an offset to most people, I shouldn't really beat myself up over that. I'm productive at night, and that's kind of like when I get a lot of stuff done. So I think that's more important. Anyway, that was my sort of revelation today, was finally like stop blaming myself for the way I am, and maybe it's not so bad. Like waking up and being normal early for a few days, that was fine, but I know I can't keep it up, and it was sort of killing me because I just wasn't getting any sleep. Um, and so today I just slept in and it felt really good, and now it's freaking 4:43 and I'm just getting started. I haven't started work yet, like I'm going to do some Phoenix Liveview first, learn a little bit, and then do some work afterwards. And yeah, I guess if I get fired or whatever, we'll find a new job, like we'll survive. And so if you find yourself in a similar situation where you're kind of telling yourself like you're not good enough, that you should do more or be better, like you might be your own worst boss. Like we are way harsher on ourselves. So I hate it when people say give yourself grace. I hate that word grace. I don't know if it's because I'm so secular, but kind of that without the word grace. Like we have to be kinder to ourselves. How about you guys? Do you guys have any of this? Do you guys relate at all? Is this something that you go through? Anyway, let's see. Anything else before we start? I have a cat, but she's taking a nap right now. She likes to wake up when I go to bed. And of course that's lovely. She's here for until until Monday. So we got her for a few more days. All right, let's get started. Let's get set up. I do want to get back to Erlang, but not today. I'm so afraid I'm going to forget it. That's another thing I kind of beat myself up about is like why can't I stick with it more? But you know, like I have this deadline for a talk I'm going to give, so I should just get ready for it. It's not like I'm doing it because I'm making it up, you know? I'm just like, "Oh, I think I'll switch." And that's fine too. It's just that I actually have a reason. All right, let's see what this does. Let's switch. All right, this is not our page. We want Phoenix Live View. That doesn't. Is this it? Here it is. Wait, this is Live View specific. That's weird. Should I read this doc? Because remember we were like looking at Phoenix before. Should we read Live View stuff or should we? Jesus Christ. Well, since we started with the Phoenix documentation, let's find out how. Let's find that. I think it's here. And then they had Live View here. Let's compare these two. What was the other one? Live View Phoenix, I think. And then I clicked here and I went down here and it said we have extensive documentation. Comprehensive documentation. So it says our processes that receive events. Are processes that receive events. So it seems like Live View, Controller View, basic example. Oh, this is different. Well, let's stick with the Phoenix version because we're here and we'll continue from here. So in case you don't know, well, we're going to read this. So you'll know if you don't know what Live View is, but if you don't know what Phoenix is, I have a video. You have to go, it's a live where I learned Live View, Phoenix, basic Phoenix stuff. I made a document on it and during the session I'm trying to do this thing where I document what I write because I'm reading this book called Writing to Learn, I think it's called. And it's a lot about if you write about something, it's kind of this idea that, you know, you've heard like if you can teach somebody something, that's how you really know if you know it. It's the same concept like um if you can write clearly about it, then your thoughts are clear on the subject and therefore you actually know it. But my secondary purpose of doing it is because I tend to forget things really fast. So if I write some documentation, then it's a lot easier. I'll show you what I have so far. Let's start up the server for it. I think it's in Phoenix. Oh, by the way, if you were here the last session, I submitted a small change in the Phoenix documentation, and they accepted it, and it's been merged. So if we go to Phoenix here, where was it? Let me find it. It was under up and running. I think it was here. No, installation. Shit. Do you guys remember where it was? It wasn't here. No, it must be. Ah, here. It was here. Endpoints to endpoint views. And this was the sentence. As we built our first page, we could start to understand. I thought that was a little awkward, so I made, let's see if it was really merged or if they lied to me. Request lifecycle. Let's go to main. Request lifecycle. Here we go. Having built our first page, we're beginning to understand how the request lifecycle is put together. Now let's take a more holistic look at it. So yay, got my first PR in their documentation. So that's cool. So I guess we read this part too. All right, this is where it actually starts, where we're going to read about Liveview. We've already seen how the typical request cycle in Phoenix works. A request is matched in the router. A controller handles the request and turns a view to, oh, I didn't show you my page. So I was going to run it. I'm a little bit, I think I called it Phoenix Docs. Yeah, and then we run Mist here, which is the Mist MD. And now if we go to this port, I say welcome to my notes. Basics. So here's like the basic stuff that I've extracted on how to get started, and then running the applications. Next one is directory structure. Where's what? Where the source code is. Then the web stuff. This is the kind of like, I should make a mermaid diagram, huh? Where it goes like from the endpoint to the router to the controller to the render HTML pages, and it talks about what each one is. Then how to use a hex template, passing parameters like messenger, and how to do that. So that's what I've done so far. Hey there, Ice Cold Witch. How are you? Okay, so 11 minutes in, we're going to actually start now. For real, this time. I'm good. I actually slept in today. That's what I was talking about in the beginning of this session, that I slept in, and I don't feel guilty about it because that's just how I am. I had a few days where I was normal, and I'm just exhausted from it. I woke up early, did stuff, and so I'm not beating myself up anymore for being me. All right, what is live view? Live views are processes that receive events, update their state, and render updates to a page as diffs. The live view programming model is declarative. Instead of saying, once event X happens, change Y on the page. Events in live view are regular messages which may cause changes to the state. This sounds a lot like gen servers. Once the state changes, the live view will re-render the relevant parts of its HTML template and push it to the browser, which updates the page in the most efficient manner. Live view state is nothing more than functional and immutable Elixir data structures. The events are either internal application messages, usually emitted by Phoenix Sub, or sent by the client browser. This sounds good. I like it so far. So far what I'm getting is I think it's server based, and that they get messages from wherever, from the user or from other parts of the system. And those messages have, I guess, handlers that can sort of mutate state in a sense, um, or update the state, maybe we should say. And then that causes the rendering system to update like what it sends to the client. The server is going to know what it already sent to the client, so it's mostly doing a diff, I'm guessing, and updates it. Every live view is first rendered statically as part of a regular HTTP request, which provides quick times for first meaningful paint. I guess this is a term that the user actually sees something, in addition to helping search and indexing engines. The thing about this is like I worked on mobile games and apps, and like sometimes it's just so annoying. I've also worked on desktop games, and like sometimes the startup is just so long and you're just like, what's going on? The worst is like with a mobile app that's like just starting up, it may not even have its splash page or anything. So you want to give the user some feedback that your app's actually working, right? So I can understand this kind of being that for a web page. If you're sitting and you're loading a web page and it's just spinning and you don't see anything, what's going on? A persistent connection is then established between the client and server. This allows live view applications to react faster to user events as there is less work to be done and less data to be sent compared to stateless requests that have to authenticate, decode, load, and encode data on every request. I don't use other systems much. I mean, not directly. At work, we have our own system, but I didn't build it from scratch. So I don't know too much about what goes into all of that, but I can imagine that often the connection isn't persistent and therefore each request has to have all of this, like authenticate. Um, Example, LiveView is included by default in Phoenix applications. Therefore, to use LiveView, you must have already installed Phoenix and created your first application. If you haven't done so, check Phoenix's installation guide to get started. Or check my video, my previous live, where we did it. The behavior of a live view, so I guess they call it like, it's like a thing. You can have many. After a long time, hey, you commented on my short. What did it mean? Like you were totally like, is someone trolling me? Is someone trying to disagree but not say what they disagree on? You got me all like worried. The behavior of a live view is outlined by a module which implements a series of functions as callbacks. See as an example. Of what? See as an example. This sounds really bad. Write the file below to lib my app web live thermostat live.ex. Okay, so we already created a new application, a hello application, so we can do that. Maybe we should make a new one just to make sure we're used to. What are we doing today? We are learning live view because Phoenix comes with live view, and this is all part of the Elixir web framework, the most popular web framework on Elixir. And live view is mostly a server-side rendering system so that you don't have to really write as much client-side code when you have a live view. And that's intriguing to me. I like the idea of like just writing the code mostly once and not having to deal with a whole bunch of React and all that kind of stuff. But you can use React and all that. Oh, you're agreeing with me. I got all nervous. Um, Oh, let's see an example. All right, so let's actually start a new app because then we can actually test my my stuff. We did Nix setup. Let me make sure that my terminal's not too big or too small. There we go. We will go into Phoenix, and then we already have this archive hex phx new, so we just have to do this. Mix phx.new app name. We'll call it thermo because it's like the thermostat thing. Database SQLite 3 because I don't like using Postgres for most of my things to start with. Okay, so that did everything. Then, oh, not yet. Oh, that runs mixsteps.get. Got it. So we don't really need it. How'd I do what? How'd I do what? Yeah, I think it uses a WebSocket in the backend. Oh no, if you look at the top of my documentation, first of all, let me send you the link of my documentation. I think it was called like Phoenix, right? Here we go, Phoenix docs. So you can run this yourself if you want, or just look at it. And in my documentation, you can see that I have a Nix set up here where I added, oh shit, I didn't say what I needed. But for me, I have Elixir LS Erlang 28 as part of the packages that I install. So Phoenix doesn't come with it, but Mix does. Mix comes with as part of Elixir. And so like when you run mix archive.install hex phoenix underscore new, then it will give you this new target here, Phoenix new, or this new action, Phoenix.new, and that's how it creates the. Oh, no, no, no. Yeah, that would be cool, right? If Nix had that, you're like, holy shit. No, it's Mix. Mix Nix. All right, so now we're in Thermo, and now we can do mix ecto create, just like it actually said to do here. And that'll create our repository. And now we can run the server, which I think I have here too, right? Yeah, I run it in the command line, so it is in the REPL, Phoenix server. I notify tools. I thought I installed that. The heck? Oh, I didn't. I guess I didn't even follow my own instructions. Packages to add, I notify tools. So let's put that near here. I notify tools for Phoenix. And then we also need Watchman for Tailwind CSS in Phoenix. And did I do the LD stuff? Yeah, I did this. Okay. I don't know how I did. I guess I just used Nick Shell last time. Work is interesting. They keep asking me to do different things, and my list just keeps getting longer because I keep getting new things before I finish my previous thing. And I think ideally they'd like to see progress on the new thing, and they care less about the old thing that they asked me to do. But then I'll never get anything done. Like, and after a while of doing that, like, they'll just be like, how come you never get anything done? And I'll be like, because it keeps switching on me. Okay, let's see if it runs now. We don't need this Claude. So I was running Phoenix server like this. There we go. Now it's happy. It's on localhost 4000. So there it is. Perfect. Um, ah. All right, so we're going to copy this file, it says, into my app web. That must mean thermo. Write this into lib thermo live thermostat live.ex. Okay. So what does it have? This is probably needs to be this probably needs to be changed, right? Render. So this is the template system Heeks here, I guess. Current temperature. We grab the temperature that gets passed in. Click increment temperature plus sign mount. Let's assume a fixed temperature for now. So there's 70. We're assigning a variable maybe here. This is mount, maybe means startup time. And then when we get the click event, increment temperature, I see. This is the handler name here. And that goes to here. We don't care about the parameters. And then we call update on this variable. And the function takes in the previous value and adds 1 to it. All right. Let's go see what it says. The module above defines 3 functions. They are callbacks required by Liveview. The first one is render /1. The /1 is the arity, so render takes 1 parameter, assigns, which receives the socket, assigns, and is responsible for returning the content to be rendered on the page. All right, so we got a very small page here. We used the sigil to define a Heeks template. I don't know how to say this. Like, how to pronounce Heeks. Let's see what happens. As a non-native singer, I found it difficult to pronounce the word Heeks. Next, need to convert old Eeks template to Heeks. I pronounce it as Heeks. Eeks. Isn't that Ix and Hicks? Heeks. There is a good one. Da 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 da. Where is it? Consonant vowels. I, E. So, ya, e. Where's the E? God damn it. I think it's like a French IPA chart. International IPA. Here we go. No, yeah. I is the small I is the I. Where's the long one? And they don't have. Yeah, we're going off course, guys. We're definitely going off course here. Let's look for English IPA chart. Here we go. This is it as kit. I see. E is the short I. The closed. So this is E and this is I. So when people are saying Heeks here, this is with the capital I. As kit. So it'd be Hicks. Hicks. That's so weird, right? Wouldn't you say Heeks? And this person says Eeks. Anyway, I am really going off course here. So let's get back. We'll just have to choose one. More people said Hicks. God, that's XX Hex. Maybe I'll just call it Hex X, which no one said. Embedded elixir, I call it Eeks Heeks. I'm gonna stay with Heeks. I'm staying with Heeks. I feel most comfortable with that. All right. We'll cut all that out in editing, which stands for HTML plus Eeks. They are an extension of Elixir's built-in Eeks templates, which are embedded Elixir, which with support for HTML validation, syntax-based components, smart change tracking, and more. You can learn more about the template syntax in component sigil H2. Note, Phoenix component is automatically imported when you use Phoenix Liveview. All right, so we have this in here already. Looks like it tells us about this, and they don't tell you how to pronounce it. Good, we know where to look for it next time. Under Phoenix component. The data used on rendering comes from the mount callback. The mount callback is invoked when Liveview starts. In it, you can access the request parameters, read information stored in the session, typically information which identifies who the current user is, and a socket. Okay. The socket is where we keep all state, including assigns, which is the socket itself, right? Mount proceeds to assign a default temperature to the socket. Because Elixir data structures are immutable, Liveview APIs often receive the socket and return an updated socket. Then we return OK socket to signal that we were able to mount the Liveview successfully. After mount, Liveview will render the page with the value from assigns and send it to the client. So am I to understand that? So we get this socket, and we're basically putting all of this data into the socket, I guess, right? So when we say assign, we're basically assigning stuff into the socket. The socket is like a user state, user session almost. I wonder how they consider it different from a session, which we have over here. I guess maybe a session can exist on multiple sockets. If you look at the HTML rendered, you will notice there is a button with a phx click attribute. That's over here. When the button is clicked, ink temperature, this guy, event is sent to the server, which is matched and handled by the handle event callback. This one. The callback updates the socket and returns no reply socket. This one here. This is kind of like an OTP thing. No reply is sort of like when it doesn't actually need, it's not waiting, something wasn't waiting for a reply, I think. With the updated socket, handle underscore anything. Callbacks in Liveview and in Elixir in general are invoked based on some action. In this case, the user clicking a button. The no reply socket return means there's no additional replies sent to the browser, only that a new version of the page is rendered. I see. So this means we're not going to send anything back to the user. Liveview then computes diffs and sends them to the client from this render thing, I guess. Now we are ready, well, not in our render, but as part of whatever's rendering, right? Now we are ready to render our Liveview. You can serve the Liveview directly from your router. Yeah, I'm going to have to change this to, I think, Thermo, because that's the name of my Why does it not know what's going on? We might end up having to use Claude, folks. Anyway, let's find our router. And in here we have the browser stuff. That's fine. We have to find our slash. Here's, oh, it's called ThermoWeb. That's why. Interesting. Did we note that in the last time in the data structure stuff? I think so. I think we did. Yeah, here we said all the web stuff is under app name underscore web. So basically, it's all under ThermoWeb. The space is the underscore just means like it's a convention that'll be like just gone and then you capitalize the next letter. So it becomes app name with a capital web. And that's why it's ThermoWeb. Okay. I am tracking now. So where were we? We were here and we wanted to change this get into, we're going to say live. I guess this is the HTTP verb. It's like get or post, but in this case, I guess we can put live and we'll make a route for it, thermostat, and we give it a name, thermostat live. I wonder how a code completed that. This doesn't exist, right? Oh, it does. When you make this thing was called thermostat live. That's the problem when you don't type it, you don't know what you did. Okay, got it. So that makes sense. That's where that comes from. So we're now when we do slash thermostat, it'll send it over to thermostat live. Once the live view is rendered, a regular HTML response is sent. In your app.js file, you should do the following. Let's make notes here, like wasn't clear that what name to replace with my app web with. Basically forgot that all web stuff. I just want to make notes in case we want to make other patches to the docs. All right. App.js file. Why do they say you should do the following? Like, it's a little lame that, like, they say do the following without explaining why, right? Okay, so we import all this Phoenix stuff, then we have this. Don't we already have this? Get attribute content live socket equals slash live CRF token. But we have these extra things here. Oh, we're holy shit. I went to the wrong guys. I went to the wrong fucking page. Fuck. Wait, it looks like it's the same thing. Oh god, I'm so mad at myself though. Did I start? I'm confused. So let me just close this shit. I'm so mad now. Anyway, bear with me. I'm so sorry you're suffering with me. We read this. This is different. Meaningful paint. It's basically diffs over the wire. Okay. Liveview versus controller plus view. While Phoenix controllers, I like this kind of like little bit of setup here so it tells us a little bit more. While Phoenix controllers and Liveview serve similar purposes in handling user interactions, they operate very differently. Controller plus view. Controllers handle HTTP request response pairs as separate transactions. Each page load or form submission requires a full request response cycle. Controllers are stateless with data stored externally database session. Views are separate modules that render template with the data from controllers. Page updates and dynamic interactions require either full page reloads or custom client-side JavaScript code. So all of this is kind of like it's not really a persistent connection to the server. Um, it's uh, it's not stateful, and also like if you want it to be dynamic in terms of like changes on the page, either the full page has to reload, or you have to come up with like React or Solid.js or something like that as a framework to do it. Liveview initial page load uses the regular request lifecycle but establishes a bidirectional connection using Phoenix channels, which probably is like WebSockets, right? Well, we'll look at that later. A Liveview process maintains state throughout user interaction. State changes automatically trigger re-renders of only the changed parts of the page, so it's a little more efficient. React and Solid.js and all of those guys would do that too. Event flow through the persistent connections instead of separate HTTP requests. Right, so when you click on something, that event will go into the actual WebSocket and go to your server and then back out again from the re-rendering. Minimal JavaScript is required for interactive features. Live views combine the concerns of controllers and views into a more unified model. Basic example. So I think this is what we have here, right? Yeah. Current temperature, ink temperature, 70. The live view demonstrates the core cycle. Now, notice they didn't tell us to like make the file, right? So that's unfortunate. So they should tell us to make the file. In the Phoenix page, and what's this view here? Mount callback initializes the state. Render function defines what is to be displayed. And then the handle event callbacks to events from the client. To wire this up in your router, do this, which we've done. Let me check my router. The slash pipe through browser, yep. We didn't have to change this though, but I guess they're just showing it. Once live view is rendered, a regular HTML response in your apps, you should find the following. Yeah, when they say this should probably mean like it's probably already created for you. Now the JavaScript will connect over WebSockets and mount3 will be invoked inside a spawn Liveview process. So do you think we can run this now? Live is thermostat live is undefined. Do you think I need to say thermoweb? Oh, here it is. There was an alias up front. So I should only need this. And then here they're saying live was not defined. I wonder what that means. Oh, look at, no, that's different. Use my web app Liveview. This should probably create stuff, right? That I need. Why am I running into problems already? Unused alias. I got rid of that, right? So when I run this again, is not available. Module thermoweb. Oh, it has it twice. Why would it have it twice? Damn it. So this should complain that it doesn't. Oh, the fuck? Current temperature 70. Do you guys see that? It's so small. I forget how to change the size. There we go. And here we have debug handle event. That's kind of cool, right? So what happened here? What did I do? It was under a router, right? I got rid of the alias. Do their version have an alias? No, their version doesn't have an alias. Notice that? Maybe the live view one did? Fuck, where was it? Where did the alias come from? I didn't add it. Maybe my text editor did it. I certainly didn't type it. No, not this. Oh, it was in the router one. Here, they don't have it here. And then in the router here, they don't have it. So where did it come from? That's so weird. I must have been my editor doing it. So their stuff is right. Somehow my thing just got confused. But anyway, we have our first live view that actually worked. Um, Key concept, socket, and state. The live view socket is a fundamental data structure that holds all state in a view. So the socket holds the state. It's an immutable structure containing assigns the data available to your templates, while controllers have con, live views have socket. So socket's the main thing. It's like the data structure that has all the state. And it contains assigns. Assigns is the stuff that your templates can get. Changes to the socket via assigns or update trigger re-renders. All state is maintained on the server with only the diff sent to the client, minimizing network traffic. Live view lifecycle. Live views have several important lifecycle stages. Mount, which initializes stuff. Session data and socket. Handles parameters, so respond to URL changes and updates live view state accordingly. Handle event, responds to user interactions coming from the client. And handle info, responds to regular process messages. This is what OTP has, sort of. DOM bindings. I don't know what this is too much, but LiveView provides DOM bindings for convenient client-server interactions. So clicking stuff, form, submit, input, blur. These bindings automatically send events to the server when the specified browser event occurs, which are then handled in handle event. I wonder how this is built. I'm guessing that the client never sees these things. Let's see. Oh, is it like 4,000? I stopped it. Where's this button? Data Phoenix Loc equals 6 ph click. So this does show up here. And then does this tell me like what's listening on it? I'm terrible at like HTML stuff. Oh well, anyway. So at least we see appearance button. Well, we know it's a button, so who knows? live socket. We don't need to break down how they do things today, right? Let's not dive into this. Okay. Getting started. If Phoenix includes code generators for Liveview, try Gen Live blog post. Whoa. This generates a complete Liveview CRUD implementation similar to Mix Phoenix Gen HTML. All right, so then they send us over to Liveview documentation. So I guess this was good that we read some of this anyway. I'm gonna be right back. Gonna make some tea. But we did make our first Liveview thing. They should have just told us to come here to begin with, because I think the docs on this side is a little bit better and we cover the same sort of thing. All right, be right back. It's not coffee, it's tea today. It's a little late for coffee. Did you see a cat walk through? It's so cute. Um, my tea is brewing, so it's gonna be a couple minutes, and I'll pick it up. Where are we? We did this. We did all this. We learned this. Did that. The mount receives three arguments. The request parameters, the session, let's bring that up. So mount gets three parameters. The parameters, the session, and the socket. No, go back. I said I was making tea. Coffee, it's too late. If I said the wrong thing, then I am literally going insane. I know that my ADHD is getting bad because it's like kind of like comes in spurts, like, whatever, it goes up and down. Because for a few weeks, I'll just like lose my phone all the time and forget where everything is. Oh yeah, yeah. On my message it says making coffee, but I said specifically when I turned that on, I said that's a lie. I'm making tea because it's too late for coffee. So, yeah, I don't update. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to edit this message. Oops, shit. Um fuck, my tea's ready. So we don't have this confusion in the future. Shit, where do I put my tea? Like, my place is becoming a mess. I know, I'm such a liar. Let me change this. Properties. Making beverage. There we go. Oh shit, now it's like now it's okay, right? Do I have your blessing on this? It's not a lie. I could basically be drink anything that's drinkable will pass this test. I wanted to put some sugar in here, but no time. I've been using my mouse on my left hand. I noticed that I feel like I was born left-handed, but my mother kind of made me use my right hand, or maybe I'm ambidextrous. I don't know, but it just feels good to use my left hand sometimes for things that I normally don't use it. It feels like it's like tickling my brain. I don't know. And I often try to eat like I eat a lot of Asian food. My mother's Korean, so like I'll use chopsticks and I'll use it on my left and like I can do it. So it's a little bit slower. I'm not as good, but I can do it. All right, we're all over the place. Parameters. It gets three things. We just looked at those. They're over here. The parameters can be used to read information from the URL. For example, assuming you have a thermostat module defined somewhere, you can read this information based on the house name. You could somewhere that can read this information based on the house name. You could write this: thermostat get house reading house. Okay, blah blah blah. So Right. So it doesn't really matter. I mean, this is just making a function call, right? So let's just assume that we're fine. And then in your router, we can do house. Oh, this passes in a parameter house. I see. Well, let's do this because this sounds kind of interesting. Params, and then we'll grab our, what should we get for the temperature? City, right? Let's grab the city. I didn't know about this thing here. I've been using Claude instead of OpenAI because I feel like OpenAI is the big business and we don't want always the big business to win. Um, I have, I'm doing pattern matching with Elixir. Normally with a map, I would do, oh, that just looks so weird. I see. So when you're using keys, then you use maps operator. Hey, tech maniac. Maps operator arrow. 1 second. Um, I don't use this very much. I feel like Atom keys is what I always do, but I guess this is good to know. So it's an interesting question, and maybe this is like a good thing that I should talk about someday, because I hear a lot of people bring this up. I want to write it down. So the question, where is it? This is really good. How do you learn any language effectively? And then the second question was, and how much time should one spend after knowing a language? Like, do you recommend someone be patient with the learning or try to speed run? So you can see that I am not learning this quickly. Like, I am totally not learning this quickly. Um, but I don't need this. I don't need this. Well, I do need this. I'm using for my conference talk, which is on like November 5th. I want to use Liveview. I'm gonna put it on an Raspberry Pi. Where's my Pi box? Oh my god! I just dropped something. No idea what this is. Oh, it looks like an OLED. Oh my god! I broke. I not broke. I just like everything's rattled now. Um, Here's my Pi box, like wires and stuff. And here's an example of a Raspberry Pi Zero 2W. So I want to do my presentation for the talk. I want to actually like just bring this and render my talk from this. I'll connect this into the HDMI port. Well, it has like a mini HDMI. And then maybe I will run a web server that everyone can connect to on that to make the talk interactive so they can like vote for things or something like that. So, exorcism's not bad. I don't know what it's good for certain languages. So certain languages it's a lot better at. Not exorcism. Um, but basically you're getting little quizzes sort of, and by doing it, you're learning it. Other people have called these konas, or I forget what the other words are. But it's not bad for Elixir. There's like a lot of languages, and some of them have this learning category or learning like learning tags. Let's see where. Yeah, learning mode. That means they have like enough quizzes in here that you can like learn just by doing it. And I feel like it's actually a pretty good system. However, what I like to do is learn enough of the language to use it and then build something with it. Just like learn the basics and just start using it a lot. Um, I think everyone learns differently. I kind of have been really liking using web documentation from the main people and then contribute back where I feel like it wasn't clear or something like that. Um, but I used to, and for languages I really love, I get a book because it's almost like I want to read more. I want to enjoy it. So I read a book, like I did that for Rust. I did that for Elixir. But most languages that I learn, like literally, like how we've been doing it for Erlang. Look at my lives. I have a playlist for Erlang. I just go through the online book for Erlang, and we're pretty much through it. Like we know the language at this point. It's all about libraries now. But some people really don't learn that way. I remember I was so confused. There was someone I was working with, and he's like, "I need a really big book that has lots of jokes in it." And I'm like, "I don't want jokes in my reading material. I just want it to tell me what I need to do, but tell it well, you know? Like that's what I want." But he wanted it to be like a funny sort of like I'm enjoying it, you know? Um we don't need a comedy session from it. Um So effectively, I think means finding a good quality system like whatever it is, online documentation. Don't just start with anything, start with one that makes sense. And then I like to go through it from front to end and I skip parts that I think I really don't need. I try not to rush it. I feel like rushing stuff means that you don't end up knowing some stuff that will become important later. How much time should one spend after knowing a language? Like, do you recommend someone to be patient with the learning or try to speed run? I don't know. Well, lambda calculus takes a day or half a day to learn. Um, I think I spent, oh, do I have the notebook? I actually did a lot of those reductions just to make sure I knew it. Um, and so it was helpful to do some actual like practice examples of lambda calculus problems. But I loved it. I mean, it was so fun doing them and just like, okay, is this right? Is this wrong? And I made notes for it. Did I like make just notes for this? I can't remember. And there is a really good book on Haskell that starts off with a whole bunch of lambda calculus. It's called like, maybe it's called like, no, I didn't write down lambda calculus stuff, but I bought it. Um, what is it called? I have it in digital format. I think it's called like Principles or something like that. Programming, I think it's called. Why is it? Haskell Programming from First Principles. And Haskell's not a language you can speed run, right? Like, where is it? It's this book. And in it, the very beginning, it's all like, wait, isn't this the book? Just making sure now. Yeah, all you need is lambda. What is functional programming? Beta reduction. Yeah, so it goes into all of that stuff first, and then just I took my time in it. Yeah, this is a great book. So I don't know. I don't know what I think speed running feels different for everyone, but you probably already know a few programming languages, so learning the nth one isn't like a speed run, right? It's like maybe you do it because you like languages. I love programming languages, so they're like toys for me. So I want to play with them. I want to like having a good dinner. I want to savor them. I don't really want to speed run them. But I know that I have lots of friends who like they just use it purely as a tool. So they'll start using it when they know like a third of the language and they do pretty well, but you know, they won't grok the full language, you know? They won't like the paradigm will feel odd, they won't really care, and they won't make use of a lot of the features. And that's kind of where I'm at with Nix right now. I know the language, or I did, but I don't really make use of all the OS features that it gives you or package management features. I just use the basic stuff. All right, let's see, where are we? We're here. We were adding we were adding this so that we can grab city, and then we can, what were we going to do with city? Ah, right. Um, no, we should grab temperature, right? Temperature, temp, temp, right? Okay. So we needed this, but we needed to add this in our router where we, well, maybe we should get rid of this one and we do thermostat slash and we pass T. Is that what we used, right? We used T. Yeah. So T's going to come in to thermostat live, and then mount's going to look for T, assign it to temperature. I guess we can probably do logger. I feel like I haven't written Elixir code in a while. It's so... So we made a house in here. We did this part. We did this part. Here, we did this part. I see. We can just run this now. Okay. Oh, no route to get thermostat. That's probably because we have this open somewhere. No? Yeah, here. Um, so there it goes. 100. Because I passed in 100 here. This gets assigned. This got assigned to T. And we said got temperature temp. Ah, fuck. How do we do this in here? Isn't it this? No, I'm forgetting how to do interpolation inside of Elixir. There's a kitty here. Oh, it's the hash, right. I thought it was a different things. Hi, baby. Look. Ugh. Oh, it's not like that? What's going on? Oh, undefined variable T. Temp. I had it right the first time. And finally, got temperature 100. As you can see, I don't know my languages so well. That's why I wrote down that I... What is the cat doing? Kiss que tu fais là, Lily? Um, my partner has cookies out. That's why. No one cares about kitties. I used to be allergic to cats. You're so cute. Look how cute she is. I don't think you can see her. Damn it. Um, you want to eat, don't you? It's a little early for you to eat. And I have to still do this stream. Um, where were we? Here we go. I think we did this, right? The session retrieves information from a signed or encrypted cookie. I think I'm missing something here. Parameters are used to read from the URL. That's what we did here. This was the parameters one. And then we add this, the session. Oh, this is the session stuff. Retrieves information from a signed cookie. So sessions is where you get stuff from a cookie. This is where you can store authentication information such as current user ID. Get user reading user ID. Got it. So that would be here in our code, but we're not using session. Phoenix comes with a built-in authentication generator. This is good to know. Most times in practice, you'll use both. You'll find the house and the current ID, and you pass both to get the house reading. In other words, you want to read the information about a given house as long as the user has access to it. Bindings. Phoenix supports DOM element bindings for client-server interaction. For example, to click a button, you would render the element this, and then we have the phx click, whatever this is called. Element binding, is that what it is? On the server, all Liveview bindings are handled with the handle event callback. So this ends up going to here. What is value? I see. They called it params here, but here it's called value when we ignore it. To update UI state, for example, to open and close drop down, switch tabs, etc., Liveview supports JS commands, which execute directly on the client without reaching the server. To learn more, see our bindings page. Where is that? That's down here, client-side integration. As well as our JavaScript interoperability page. Liveview has built-in support for forms, including uploads and association management. See form as a starting point. So that would be under components, and forms. I like to know that I can find it later. What is here? What do I feel like? I'm pretty cut off. I'll have to just deal with this. Okay. What happened? How do you guys even, were we here? We were here. I don't know what happened. Did I just? You guys know better than me. Um, Built-in support for forms. See Phoenix Forms. The uploads and form binding guide provide more information about advanced features. Uploads are here. Navigation. Liveview provides functionality to allow page navigation using the browser's push state API. With live navigation, the page is updated without a full page reload. You can either patch the current live view, updating its URL, or navigate to a new live view. You can learn more about them in Live Navigation's guide here at Live Navigations. Generators. Phoenix 1, 6, and later include code generators for live view. If you want to see an example of how to structure your application from the database all the way up to live views, run the following. Should we try running this? Oh yeah, Scratch. All right. Mix Phoenix Gen Live. So this is how we make one. Blog post. Let's see what it is first. Mix help Phoenix Gen Live. Phoenix. Isn't that what I just ran? Blog post posts title string body text. Well, that didn't work. I probably have an old version. Phoenix 1.6. Yeah, I have no idea. Or maybe I need to do this from within an application. That doesn't make any sense, does it? Oh, you do. Ah, interesting. This was not clear. Hello? My computer stopped working. Not clear that we needed to be within a project. So that means I can go into hello and do mix help phoenix.gen.live. And this outputs. I wonder if I can run this through hello. No? I think it was all of that was on standard error. So probably now it's under help.md. Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, it still has sort of. Generates kind of format is live mix and live context schema table attribute user, so it's user schema name string age string, so attribute type will generate a user schema for the user's table within the user's context with the attributes name and age. Oh, I see. It's like a database thing. Accounts user users name accounts user user. So this is accounts context module followed by the schema module user table name users and attributes. The context in Elixir as an API boundary for the given resource. Okay. Gotta love databases. Compartmentalize state markup and events in Liveview. Liveview supports two extension mechanisms, function components provided by Heeks templates and stateful components known as live components. Function components to organize markup and event handling. Similar to render assigns in our live view, a function component is any function that receives and assigns map and returns a Heeks template. For example, this. And here we have a Heeks template where it's going to put class in here and name in here. You can learn more about function components in the Phoenix component module. At the end of the day, they are a useful mechanism for code organization and to reuse markup in your live views. Sometimes you need to share more than just markup across live views. When you also want to move events to a separate module or use the same event handler in multiple places, function components can be paired with live view attach hook. All right, this is getting to be a lot of information that, like, since I'm not using it, I feel like this is the worst way to learn because they're teaching you a lot of stuff, but then you're not doing it. So unless I build some muscle memory, I won't really recall. It'll just be like, there was something about components. I don't know what it was. A component will occasionally need control over not only its own events, but also its own separate state. For these cases, LiveView provides live component, which are rendered using live component. Okay, these looks like some kind of JSX module or something. Live components have their own mount and handle event callbacks as well as their own state with change tracking support, similar to live views. They are lightweight since they run in the same process as the parent live view, but are more complex than function components themselves. Given they all run in the same process, errors in components cause the whole view to fail to render. For a complete rundown, see live component. Yeah, just got a text saying I haven't paid rent. Great. Got a stream, but I can't remember to pay rent. Okay. When in doubt over functional components or live view components, default to the former. Rely on the latter only when you need additional state. So use functional components. Wouldn't it be nice if they kind of taught us this stuff? Like, this is supposed to be an introduction, and yet I feel like I'm just being told a lot of, like, mumbo jumbo stuff. Live render 3 to encapsulate state with error isolation. Finally, if you want complete isolation between parts of a live view, you can always render a live view inside another live view by calling live render. This child live view runs in a separate process than the parent with its own callbacks. If a child live view crashes, it won't affect the parent. If the parent crashes, all children are terminated. This is cool. When rendering a child live view, the ID option is required to uniquely identify the child. A child live view will only ever be rendered and monitored a single time, provided its ID remains unchanged. To force a child to remount with new session data, new ID must be provided. Given that it runs in its own process, a nested live view is an excellent tool for creating completely isolated UI elements, but it is slightly expensive abstraction if you all you want is to compartmentalize markup or events or both. All right. Use components for code organization and reusing markup. Um, those were heavier. I see. Use component for code organization and live component for sharing state, markup, and events between live views. Use nested live views to compartmentalize state, markup, and events. So there's different categories, API reference. LiveView also has many guides. So they have server-side guides, and these are, I guess, all of these. And client-side guides. Yeah, they're all of them here. Feels like they never finish and say anything like, hey, use the guides or whatever, but I get it. Well, we're done with the introduction. I think I'm burnt out from this already. This was really good up until like bindings, and then you could no longer really follow, you know? Oh well. So I think next time we'll do assigns and Heeks templates. What do you guys think of live view so far? We haven't seen much, right? All right. Well, thanks for sticking around. Yeah, I don't know either. I wonder if I should do more just to like not end on this kind of like blah feeling. You just want the cat. Where is the cat? The cat has given up on me. It is her feeding time in 30 minutes. She's like fed on a schedule because she got a little too heavy. And so like they're the owners are trying to get her to like have a good weight. Well, maybe what I'll do is I will just suggest some changes to their documentation here. Where did I put it? Um, yeah, this one was a little bit harder. Yeah, in the in the Phoenix documentation. I don't think they even really told us to like compile it. So probably we don't need to work on that one. But here they're trying to get us to do it. So this is the problem here. My app web. I think this would be better if they said something like, here, let me grab the main branch. Oh, is this all under Phoenix? This is a different, this is a different, this is a different module. Let me fork this. And we can clone this. So we're in here, and let's open up this one, Phoenix doc issues. And then we can find, what was the file? This is the wrong one. Here, click here, welcome.md. So what would I have wanted? The behavior, let's see an example. Write the file below to note. Let's see an example. What should it say? Don't want to make it too hard, right? Does that sound okay? Remember to replace my app web in the following file name. Maybe you don't need this. Let's see what Claude thinks. Oh, here's the kitty again. Replace my app web with your app's name. Oh, I do like that. In the path below. Maybe I'll just all the didn't they, what did they change? Replace with your app's name. What changed here? Oh, the quote rather than the component. Don't understand. But okay, so they're fine with it. Maybe it should come in after. Write the file to remember to replace. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we just do it like this. Okay, I should just bring up the right the into the same sentence so it doesn't change there. It's like right the, and I guess it's split here. Yeah, that's better. Remember to replace my web app with your app's name. There we go. think that's better. Okay, I think that's clearer. I like this now. Um, and then that was one thing we didn't like. What was the other? In the Phoenix page, they don't say what. Yeah, that's Phoenix page. Once the live view is rendered in your I think they mean they should already be created. Right. So this one was kind of weird. That was over here. Once the live view is rendered. You should find the following. Once the live view is rendered, a regular HTML response window. Now that, yeah. Maybe that's clear. When you generate your live view app with Mix, it created an app.js file with the following already included. Maybe we should say where app is. Assets.js. What am I doing? Exit. Oh, included is spelled wrong. Look at that. No? Oh, I spelled it wrong. There, I think we can just leave it as that. Maybe following code is better. Okay, so that was another change. And what was the third change? Not clear, it need to be within a project. All right, I think that covers it all. Let's let's write the diff. So, clarification on the My App web name. Clarification on My App web name and file names. That's one. Second thing wasn't clear that the app.js, whoops. Second thing was clarification that app.js code is already created. And then, what was the other one? Within a Liveview project. Clarification that mix phxgen.live should be run in an existing Liveview project. What was this one? Package lock. Okay, that doesn't matter. What happened here? I'm not committing that, right? No. Okay, so we made the edit changes. And now we should be able to, this is ours, right? Now we can contribute. When I first followed the guide, I had forgotten that my Doc says to, we had been adding code up to this point, so I expected to add this code to app.js, but it was already there. Since it was a help command, I thought I could run it anywhere. My shell happened to be in the parent directory of the app, so it didn't work. All right, I think this is clear. Is the kitty up? Um, so yeah, we spent some time trying to. You don't give a fuck about me. It's it's just a chance to see the kitty. Here I am, right? She's funny, right? Lily, you want to eat? Well, you saw her, I think. Um, is there food? Her cat food. This is like her pre-cat food. Trout. Well, we submitted something. We'll see if it gets accepted. But I feel good that it was done. Well, maybe I should like at least assign it to myself, right? Oh, I can't assign it to myself. That's up to the people. All right. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me. We did a bit. We learned some stuff. Next time we'll go into the templating system a bit more, I think, and hopefully be able to actually build something with this. All right. Thanks. I'll talk to you later. Bye.